Before we get into this update video, I just wanted to give you guys a quick apology for any of the potential audio hiccups that we did have with my lovely dog in the background creating some audio bumps throughout the road with her pitter-pattering. She is unfortunately having some medical issues, so I didn't want to leave her on her own, kind of locked up, etc. I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew that there might be some light background issues and some light background noises. I don't know if there is some stuff going on in the background because I use these studio quality headphones that kind of noise cancel everything out, and the microphone is so sensitive that it does pick up her literally just walking around and things. So I'm very sorry. It's not inaudible and you can go through this very easily. It's a really good update video, and I hope you enjoy it. Hey guys, what is up? It is Charles Float here, and welcome to the first update of 2021 for my SEO Gems course. Of course, this is the most advanced SEO course ever created, and as such, I wanted to get a load of feedback from you guys, the customers, as well as a load of other SEOs. So this update specifically is tailored to all of the stuff you guys requested me to update in the feedback that you gave me. Always remember that my emails and DMs on Twitter are open. If you have any feedback for this course, if you want to see something specific in the next update, you can always drop me a line. This course means a ton to me that you buy it. It's a huge expense. I'm increasing the price with this update specifically, and I wanted to make sure that I was giving you guys the best value absolutely possible. In this update, we are going to be taking a look at a bunch of stuff, so stick with me, it's a big one. So let's just jump straight into things. There was actually a big reversal of the December core update at the start of January. Between, I think it was January 4th and January 6th and January 15th and January 16th, you'll have potentially seen an up to 25% reversal and around a 25% reversal of the complete of the traffic loss that you will have seen from the December core update. From initial research, and bear in mind this is initial research, this is not concrete at all, it is looking to me like Google have lessened the impact of overall route authority, though they also could have potentially done the opposite where they've increased the power of page specific backlinks. I'm not quite sure yet, we'll have to see as time goes on and as things move forward, but right now it's looking like there is a reversal of some of the aspects of the last core update, and it specifically seems to be around route authority or those page specific backlinks. I also wanted to give you a bit of an update around the tools tier list that we said in the main video last time. The new Surfer beta, if you have not been seeing it, is absolutely killing it. For the price, it's probably still the best content optimization tool on the market at that price range. Obviously, the actual best content optimization tool on the market is still Market Muse. Market Muse still populates keywords. It still has all of that additional scoring. It still allows you to look at hundreds, if not thousands of keywords for topical content optimization recommendations, rather than just looking up to 5, which is still the maximum that you can do with Surfer. It's still likely just because Surfer is still running all of the older technology, and Market Muse is the one with all the VC funding. They're the ones seriously upping their game. Word AI is the one that we mentioned where they were having a new version, and I actually since got access to the version 5.0, and it is looking really promising. It's looking like one of the best spinners on the market. If you're looking to create that PBN content, the tier 2, the Web 2.0s, all of that kind of stuff, this is actually looking to be like a tool that you can significantly use in your arsenal, which is something that is really quite awesome considering we haven't seen spinners or any innovation in spinning in such a long time. And then there's something else that I wanted to say is do not get the Market Muse AppSumo deal. It does not give you all of the additional things with the optimization stuff. It might give you a good insight into the content optimization tool, editing tool itself, as well as a couple credits to do a few different bits and pieces, but it doesn't give you access to the optimization side. It doesn't give you access to the research side. It doesn't give you access to all of the elite parts of this tool that would beat out the tools like Surfer, the tools like Pop. So make sure that you aren't getting that deal. You need the monthly subscription to access everything. I know I've been getting that question from quite a few of you. I also gave a load of vendor recommendations in my last video, and to be fair, I didn't give that many, and I said specifically that's because I didn't want to give any recommendations and then have you guys get burnt. Though that being said, I can give you guys these significant recommendations because of how long that I have, and I probably should have included them in the last video. The first one being TB Solutions. If you need domain names, again, and Odis Global doesn't have it. TB Solutions actually has more SEO focused domains, and Odis Global has more premium domain kind of name features. So if you're looking for money sites, Otis Global is probably the one to go with. But if you're looking for more like PBNs, etc., TB Solutions is one, as well as the fact that TB Solutions have a ton of foreign language domains. So if you want to, you can actually start filtering by German, by Spanish, by even Chinese, etc., and find domains that are specifically in that language that you are trying to rank in. As well as SEO Builder, they have the best citations in the entire game. They're really legit handmade citations. You get all the login details, you get everything, and they do the research, they do the niche stuff, they look at your competitors' citations, they do everything. It's a really phenomenal service. They've also got a social profile service that is really good as well, though I don't really recommend using that so much. I do recommend getting a VA to try and build your own social profiles. And then HPBN Network, I use this quite a lot for tier 2 links. It's available on several services, as well as you can also just go to hatred.io. But it's probably the best tier 2 PBN network right now available on the market. And I want to give you some anchor text recommendations as well. Now, I need to be extremely careful with what I say around anchor text because, of course, you can get things extremely wrong if you go way too aggressive. But I do recommend, right now at least, that you be more aggressive than usual. That's just because trends for the last several years now have favoured aggressive anchor texts, especially if you're using the higher authority links, especially if you have a high authority site yourself. You can be significantly more aggressive with your anchor texts than if you have those lower authority sites, those lower authority links with access to. One of the main things that I actually don't talk about enough, and one of the things that a lot of people don't talk about, is link velocity. In my opinion, link velocity matters actually more than the anchor text itself. And if you want to have exact ratios of, saying 2% exact match, 3% partial, 5% branded, all this sort of stuff, I don't talk about that much. What I would prefer to talk about is if you're going to have X number of links over X number of days, and they're going to these different pages, and these different anchor texts are being used so that you have a unique anchor text on every single one of your backlink. It's less necessary about having these branded ratios and all of this stuff when Google's algorithms aren't really trained towards looking at those specific things. They're more looking at the overall picture rather than the specific link itself. So what you need to be doing is looking at how many different anchor texts and how many unique variations of your anchor text that you can use, so that you're not using overlapping anchor texts, you're not going too crazy on different keywords, and you're getting as many different keywords within those anchor texts as possible. And of course, I can't mention link velocity without giving you some insight into it, considering I did say that it was even more important than the anchor text recommendations. Of course, each case is actually different when you're looking at a link velocity ratio, but everything tends to be the same with brand new sites, as well as when you're penalty recovering sites. Of course, when you have a site that has previously been penalized and it's coming out of penalty, the last thing you want to do is start firing thousands of backlinks straight at it, so it gets penalized all over again. You want to be extremely slow when you're doing brand new sites and when you're doing sites that are recovering from penalties. Link velocity always depends on the number of pages you have links going to as well. So it needs to be, and the number of links you already have. So again, the higher authority site you have, the higher link velocity you can be, as well as the more pages that you have on the site, the more pages that you're allowed to build links to, essentially. So if you have 1,000 backlinks and you're building them to one page, that's an extremely bad idea. But if you have 1,000 backlinks and you're building them to 1,000 pages, you can probably do that within a couple of weeks or even a couple of months, and you can actually get away with doing that because it's so many different links over so many different pages, and the link velocity is significantly reduced. So you want to be looking at link velocity as more of a page by page scenario than an overall root domain one, unless you're building hundreds of referring domains or thousands of referring domains to the site every single month. That's probably a bad idea. So something one of you viewers requested was to have a look at some sites that are doing extremely well in the wild that I can actually show you from just random research that I found over the course of time. So what I'm going to do is go through several niche websites as well as a big website at the end, give you the reasons why they're doing so well or potentially why they're not doing so well, as well as just give away the URLs, the sites, etc. so you guys can go and take a look and do your own analysis and own research. So the first site is niche site example number 1, which is electric-scooter.guide. And bear in mind that I wanted to use some domains that had some weird looking TLDs, had the hyphens in it, weren't exactly super brand friendly, super white hat friendly, etc. To try and make sure that you guys can see that you don't need all of those kinds of things that people like to make out that you do. So why has this site done extremely well? It went up massively from the May update. It did okay in the December update, though it has kind of stagnated and gone back down since. The reasons are, number one, it's an extremely fast and clean UX. The site loads very fast, normally in under a second, and then it's just a very basic theme, clean UX, and it's actually pretty well fitted to the niche itself. It kind of looks like that electric scooter, extremely straight-edged, basic colours, kind of, not overwhelming kind of theme. It actually fits the niche extremely well. They heavily optimise their schema, as well as they have really good internal linking. I've not seen a page on that site that doesn't have very good internal linking. They use the keywords very well. They link stuff and create those cluster topics extremely well. They also have good link bait and really, really insane topical depth, and the topical depth is something that we're going to be going on to later in a bit when we look at a patent that Google has in the works. But they have a database for scooters, they have scooter tests, they have scooter guides, they have scooter coupons, they have every single thing that you can think of around scooters to try and make sure that they're getting all of the traffic, as well as any potential links that could be coming their way as well. As well as the fact that they've got a really amazing niche link campaign. If you go and take a look at the site, it looks like they've been doing heavy amounts of link building, or either paid or not so paid, to their guides, their supporting content, all of that stuff. So the internal linking that they've done is working even more overdrive for them, due to the fact that they've done such a really good job of their link bait and their link campaign. So niche site example number 2 is worldguru.com, a real example of a site that knows what it's talking about and gives the exact content its users want in a really, really concise way. Why is this site doing so well? Why has it won in almost every update since January 2020, as well as just grown in traffic considerably, earning them almost $70,000 in traffic value per month? Well, the reasons for that being, number one, it has a ton of Wikipedia and WikiHow links, which is just giving it a massive amount of trust signals. That is just because of the level of content on the site. It's really, really good. Aside from the fact that it is an Amazon affiliate site, whoever is actually behind the website knows exactly what they're talking about. They are interested in welding, and that shows through the site itself. They also had a new site rebuilding, and they have a really interesting canonical and 301 case study where they essentially took all of the old sites URLs and 301'd them to the new pages. It might not have been and then took all of the old site's content and put it on a /old site directory, and then canonicaled any of the old /old site directory URLs to the new pages. A lot of the time it was actually new content on the new URLs, but it didn't really matter because they were still using the canonical and the 301s to flow all of the juice from the old URL back through. So it's a really interesting canonical and 301 case study just to go and look at. They also have good schema and microdata use. They have table of contents, they have the tables, they have everything done properly. They're really good at optimized internal linking. Again, everything is going and sharing juice across the entire website. They optimize their alt tag, so every single image on their site has an optimized alt tag, and as well they have very, very fast loading. The pages normally load in about 1.1 seconds. Every single page is normally under 1.5 seconds. And niche site example number 3 is pcworld.site. This site was doing phenomenally throughout the year, but has since fallen off. It wasn't even actually the December update. The December update did harm it even more so, but it was earlier in the year. In the summertime, this site has been falling off. It's actually, in my opinion, due to a specific signal being changed in Google's algorithm that it started dropping off so severely. But it does have an overall load of issues that we're going to go through. And why does it perform so poorly? Well, number one, it has an overall lack of root authority. There's not really many good high-level do-follow, high-authority links going to the site at all. It just has an overall lack of links, having an overall lack of authority. And the links it does have are pretty crap in general. They're not very good. Heavy inner page backlink focus as well. It looks like someone has actually done a link building campaign to the site rather than let some of the site gain natural backlinks, which of course is totally fine. That's what I normally do anyway. But the main problem with that is that they have gone way too overboard with building links to the inner page and not created enough links to that root authority. That's why a lot of the sites and a lot of pages themselves have really high UR and really low DR. It's underutilized internal linking as well. I've seen some internal linking on the site, but there's not that many, and there's not much optimized internal linking using the keywords, kind of focusing internal linking to specific money pages, etc. There's just there's a lack of organization in website schema. So there's again poor trust signals in general. No Wikipedia links like the other site, no WikiHow links. There's no organisation, no web schema, nothing about the owners of the site, so not hitting those kind of, I hate to say it, but not hitting that whole EAT kind of thing. Just generally poor trust signals in general. There's nothing about the owners of the site, there's nothing who's behind it, there's nothing to tell Google that this site is a trusted site, that this site is not an authoritative website in its niche. And let's take a final look at a big site. So rather than taking a look at all these small niche websites, let's take a look at a site that is generating millions and millions of visitors per month. And what a perfect example of one that has hit so perfectly and done so well from the December core update, then omnicalculator.com, as well as the fact that I just love this site and I use it for my own personal reasons several times over. If you haven't seen this site, then it is a treat to go and view. So why has OmniCalculator absolutely killed it in the last couple of years? Number one, they have an amazing UX. In my opinion, they have a best-in-class UX for the calculator niche. It's really simple, really easy. It's really well designed. They give you tips and a tutorial on how to use each of the calculators themselves within the whole page, as well as just a beautifully designed calculator itself. They have limited content with heavy schema, microdata, and internal linking use. It's really well done, really well optimized. Everything kind of flows really nicely. Whilst the content is limited, and by that I mean normally it's 300 to 800 words for the money pages, it's really well schema, microdata, internal links, etc. It's just really well built. They are also it's also the perfect link bait build, so they're just going to naturally get a ton of links to anyone who's linking to the types of calculators that's on their website, which they have a ton of different types, as well as the fact that they have additional targeted link bait. So they've created additional guides, additional case studies, all these additional things that are really well designed pieces of link bait that actually attract tons of links themselves. And onto the juicy bits for you guys, more techniques and theories for you to go through. I know the last main video only had around a dozen. I wanted to make sure that every single update video includes a few more techniques and theories for you guys to go through. So every single couple of months you have something to look forward to and some new information and some new technology for you to go through. So the first one I wanted to go through was a 2015 intent pattern that I co-opted with James Dooley. This is something that is really interesting, and actually one of the biggest reasons behind why sites like Gear Hungry have got absolutely decimated in the last few years. Okay, and this pattern is from 2015, and you can use the URL at the bottom of the screen to go and access the full thing for yourself. But essentially what this pattern is Google's own cloud-based clustering platform for topics to try and assign values to different information and pages, essentially, in different documents. It's a very complicated pattern. It's about 18 pages long of the actual process that we go through, but I'm not going to be showing everything and going into detail on exactly the specifics of it. Why is this pattern so important? Number one, it correlates very well to changes in the SERPs over the last several years. And it's the whole cluster depth and maturity thing. So this is exactly the reason why those big best sites got destroyed. What does this pattern mean? Well, you can't just rank without having some level of topical authority anymore. Like I said, with those big best sites, they were literally just creating best pages for unique topics each time. It might have been a general theme of best gardening tools, best this kind of thing, but they didn't have the content depth related to all the other topics to actually make it to actually get it to rank any further, and that's why they just got killed, and that's why they got so smashed off. So an explanation around this, let's say you wanted to rank for the best gaming mouse. You no longer can just have a page around the best gaming mouse. You also need to have clusters or supporting documents and supporting topical clusters for best. for gaming, and even things like, say, computing, because Google also identifies and links topics, and let's say it's thinking about gaming as computer gaming and specifically a computer gaming mouse, it might actually add in and link that topic, and you might also require to have your own topical cluster and your topical supporting documents to that specific link as well. So you might not just be thinking about all these arbitrary topics within your content, but you also need to go and do the analysis to link documents and link other topics to where Google is understanding you from. And that's also a really big reason why Market Muse is so powerful, because that does it for you using machine learning. And that's also why looking at the Google recommended searches is also extremely powerful. So those two things alone are kind of how you beat this and how you go around looking for the pages that you need to create to kind of make this algorithm and make this patent work in your favor. Okay, so let's talk about rel tags for link sculpting, and this is actually the first tactic that combines both being a theory and a technique, because essentially it's a theory for now, but it will be a technique in the future. What we're going to be looking at is how we can use rel tags to sculpt link juice and sculpt link flow around our site to take that link juice and put it at specific pages and target pages rather than it going to pages that we don't want it flowing through. So first of all, we need to talk about some things, which is some link sculpting facts. Number one, no follow internal links do not work. So if you are trying to no follow your internal links, that is not a way that you can actually stop it from passing juice. I do actually believe that several years ago when we first tested out and when nofollow first released, it did actually indeed work, but unfortunately it hasn't over the years, and Google clocked on pretty quickly. Canonical pages also act as 301s, and thus any links on that page that has a canonical on it are lost. It's only going to be passing the juice through that canonical to the page it's canonical to, and it's essentially going to be acting as a 301. So the entire techniques and tactics for this now, and I'm sorry for the underlined thing there, rel sponsored and UGC. These are two tags that you can add to your links, which essentially are telling Google that either it's a sponsored link, so someone has paid for this link to be here, it's an ad, or it's a user-generated link, and thus shouldn't be given as much weight because a user's put it on the website itself didn't put it on there. Now currently, from our own testing, there's no differential effect from adding these sponsored or UGC tags to your links. If you add them, they're just treated the exact same as a link rather than the nofollow tag, which does have a difference. So number one, I think the theory around why it doesn't have an effect right now is because Google are actually using these tags to train the algorithm's machine learning programming around link positioning and where people position sponsored links, where people position user-generated links, etc. And thus it hasn't actually implemented it into a directive quite yet. That doesn't mean to say that it won't in the future, but it hasn't right now. But the future potential to utilize both for link sculpting is absolutely huge. Once Google gets their thumb out their ass, as you might say, is essentially and gets round to allowing these things to actually be implemented, it's not going to be a bad thing. It will essentially allow us to much easier flow link juice around our site and use it to link sculpt and build that juice, especially internal links, external links, etc. If you're using PBNs even, it could be a really good tactic where you put UGC links for the non-money page links. There's a variety of ways that you could use this to link sculpt juice around your campaigns. And the final tactic is one for you guys that aren't professional link builders, don't have access to brokers, don't have access to journalists, all this kind of things, because those things do take a lot of time just building up the network, building up the connections to do. What you can essentially do is use freelancing websites to find Wikipedia editors to go and create your Wikipedia pages, or even use them to find specific sites backlinks. So as a perfect example, you can find Wikipedia editors on Upwork. Most of them will put on their description in their page if they are specifically an editor and if they can get you a Wikipedia page creation or not, which is the entire kind of goal of dealing with these people. You'll notice as well that the hourly rates aren't exactly going to cost you a fortune to go and create these pages. Normally it doesn't take a ton of money. I've got on pages before using these kind of people for under $300, $400. So the NY Times on people per hour. You can also use people per hour to go and find specific websites, just searching using their kind of Fiverr-esque search system which they've implemented. You'll find a ton of websites on here, such as the New York Times, Washington Post, Reader's Digest. You find pretty much every site that is available on here to go and list a guest post on. Just remember that you might want to go ahead and speak to the people that are actually offering this service first. Get an example link, see what it looks like. Sometimes these are a scam, but a lot of the times they actually offer some decent links that the same kind of brokers will offer for maybe a couple $100 less. So unless you have those broker connections, this is the best bet that you have for going with this. And that's it, guys. Thank you for watching. I've been Charles Float. I hope you enjoyed this presentation and it gave you an insight into everything that I do. It gave you an insight, into everything that you need to do into 2021, and it gave you all the updates and information that you needed. If you want to, you can go ahead and contact me on Twitter or via email to give me any feedback on what you'd like to see in the next update. I've been Charles.